Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's show is a subscriber special sent in by my subscriber called John. Many thanks, buddy, for sending in your encounter. I know it took a lot for you to trust me, and I hope I do a great job for you. I hope you're pleased with it. Before we start off tonight's show, guys, I just want to remind people a certain message, really. Obviously, through this show, I do receive, a lot of emails asking questions, talking to people with their encounters, and it's one of the great things about the job. But also, I feel there's a certain responsibility, particularly when working with Midwest Dogman sightings and research. Daryl made it very clear that he wanted me to get the message across to people that it's really not safe to just go wandering out into these forests and woods and wildernesses looking for these dogmen and creatures, because they are predators and they are opportunists. So last night I received an email from a gentleman. I won't say his name, obviously, but this guy was dead certain that he had enough firepower to take down one, if not two, and he believed he had tracked a pack near his local area, and he was going to spend the next weekend tracking and hunting them down by himself. Obviously, I could not express enough how idiotic that is, really. Tracking just one dogman by yourself is suicidal, I would think, let alone a possible pack. We cannot stress enough here at DMT, if you are going out into the woods, obviously, without or with dogmen involved, let people know where you're going or where to expect you. Go in at least a pair or a group, and have the necessary supplies to survive the landscape and the wilderness and the elements. But anyway, with that aside, rant over, guys. Just really need to stress that these creatures are not playing around. But without further ado, let's get into tonight's story. I'd like to entitle 3 Glowing Eyes in the Treeline. Let's get straight into that. Hi DMT, I have debated for quite some time as to whether I should contact you or not. Well, I believe that time has come, my friend. I am not your normal dogman encounter. I have studied these creatures for a very long time, and had even tracked one pack clear from where I live, all the way down to eastern Tennessee. I also tracked a pack of 12 plus dogmen all the way to the Adirondack forest, but I had to retreat from my campaign as my hunting companion almost became their next dinner guest. That particular pack, and I do not say things like this lightly, that particular pack are no doubt man-eaters. I have found mounds of evidence of this as compared to other packs which live, of course, off the deer of the land. I have also kept track of the whitetail populations in certain regions, and have found over the last 5 years they have exponentially dwindled in numbers, forcing their remaining to migrate further and further south for the most part. I'm sorry, I have swayed away off point. You want to get to the story? Well, here it goes. Okay. This took a lot of courage because I've been ridiculed so much for what happened to me. My grandfather owned a cabin. I'm not disclosing the location of it due to the fact that I don't want anything to happen to anyone. Anyway, my grandfather's cabin was his way of getting the family together for the holidays, so he could have a nice Sunday dinner with all of us. One day, all of a sudden, that all stopped abruptly. He wouldn't allow anyone but himself to visit the cabin. We all looked forward to going over there and cherished it for a very long time. For years I would ask him why he was doing that. He never told me why, but when he passed, he left the cabin in place to me. I inherited the cabin of my childhood and was ecstatic about that. It was soon after that I realised why he did what he did. I would go out and walk in the woods on game trails which are everywhere. I know these woods like I know my own home, so I never had any reason to fear them. It was on one of these walks that I encountered what people call dogmen. I was walking just like any other time. Nothing was different. It was then, one of these game trails, I noticed an offshoot, a sort of small trail that went only 6, possibly 7 feet back. I could see that something had bedded down there. I thought it was a deer. I then walked in the bedded area. I soon realised that this was an ambush point for whatever made this bedded area, and it was massive. My arm hairs stood erect and chill literally ran down my spine. I felt as if I was being watched from different vantage points. Since it was night time, I had a tracking flashlight and my sidearm, the latter of which I drew and kept at the ready. I genuinely feared for my life at this point. All of a sudden, an ungodly growl was made to my right, about 10 to 15 yards from me, very close indeed. I pissed myself. It was so terrifying. I didn't immediately run, fearing that whatever it was might take me as threatening. I turned and started heading back on the main trail, and when I was about 5 minutes from the back door of my cabin, this thing let out a howl that I swear felt like it went right through my body. I then proceeded to run, and as soon as I did, this thing was chasing me. For every 5 steps that I took, this thing was taking 1. That's how fast this dogman was. I heard the sounds of branches being ripped off trees, and I could have sworn I felt the vibrations of it running after me. I barely made it to my cabin and slammed the door shut, locking the 2 deadbolts and the chain lock. I then turned on my spotlight and shined it into the tree line. There, at the tree line, were 3 sets of eyes that shined vivid yellow with enormous black pupils. I felt as if the thing could read my mind, but I'm not sure if it could. All I know is that I'm alive and have since heard them many times, but I don't take night hikes anymore and haven't for years. The very next morning, I set out to see just exactly how many there truly were. As I had such an adrenaline rush from going from the night before, I thought I had miscounted in my hyper state. No, I was right to come find out. There were 3 separate tracks, all the same but different in size. I truly believe that there were 2, not juvenile but adolescent dogmen and a beta wolf teaching them to hunt and track. I'm not sure about tracking humans now, but I know they used me as practice for them, because if they wanted to kill me easily, they easily could have done so. I should tell you, when you encounter one dogman and you think it's just you and him, you are wrong. Do not ever underestimate these creatures. They are smart, tactical, and vicious. When you see one, that means there are at least 2 more that you can't see, but they can see you. They never travel or hunt alone. It may seem like it, but that's what they want you to think. They think like a man, not like an animal. I have more to share, but for now, I will leave you with this. Wow. Thank you so much, just there, of your experience. I know through speaking with you, great guy, very knowledgeable on the subject now, and I know that you say because of your knowledge, it probably didn't affect you as much as most people would have felt. I'm glad to hear that you're dealing with this, in a great way. Please let us know what you think, guys, down below in the comments. Please do like and share, and of course, remember, be safe, not sorry.